Well, it's time to hear from you at home with your Facebook questions. Holly Flood joins me. Holly, fire away.
We have two questions today, Muyiwa. We're going to start with Maurice from Western Kenya, and he wants to know, what is the best way to pray?
Well, I suppose the best one to do is just to follow what Jesus said, his guidelines that he gave in what we call the Lord's Prayer.
That's definitely true, and then I'll give you another response. The scripture also gives us an idea of how we should pray in the sense of praying in truth and sincerity. Many of us have heard the story of the tax collector and the Pharisee, and how the Pharisee goes on about himself and how he's not like the sinners and the swindlers and the tax collectors, and how he brags about having fasted twice a week and paying his tithes and all of that. At the same time, there's this tax collector who's standing not far away and who's lifting his eyes up to he couldn't even lift his eyes up to the Lord, I should say. He was unwilling to, because he reverenced God so much. And he asked the Lord to be merciful to him because he's a sinner. And what the scripture says is, I tell you, this man went to his house justified, talking about the tax collector, rather than the other. For everyone who exalts himself will be humbled, but he who humbles himself will be exalted.
Okay, now you have a second question. Our time is almost up.
Okay, I have a second question. This one comes from Gabriel, and it says, how do I go about with my wife to be without sex? Because I know sex is a sin in the presence of God with a partner before marriage. I actually want a Bible reference, please.
Well, you got the Bible in front of you. I mean, I wouldn't even go to a Bible reference. I would just say, get a grip, young man.
Well, that's a good point. Since he specifically asked for a Bible reference, we'll go to Hebrews 13:4, which says, let marriage be held in honor among all, and let the marriage bed be undefiled, for God will judge the sexually immoral and the adulterous. And I think the key is he says, he calls her his wife, but then he talks about having sex before marriage with the partner. So I'm assuming they're probably in a courtship or planning to get married. So until they say I do, there is no sex.